Ahoy there, this is Derek, the convicted cinephile. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at convicted_cinephile. I thought I'd do a quick sort of companion piece to my other Dark Days of Marvel video I did, where I just quick show off my non-MCU Marvel movies I own. Alright, first we got The Amazing Spider-Man. Not a fan of this franchise, really. I do like Andrew Garfield a lot as an actor. Not the biggest fan of the films, though. And the substantially worse Amazing Spider-Man 2. Basically, the only thing in this film that I like is how the death of Gwen Stacy was handled. On to the Blade Trilogy. The first two Blade films are pretty fantastic, in my opinion. The third one is a absolute pile of trash, even by the standards of comic book films when it was released. Onto a film I talked about in my last video that I'm very nostalgic for, the 1990 direct-to-video Captain America film. There's actually some good actors in this film. I recommend anyone watch it who hasn't seen it. It's definitely not great, but I enjoy it. Onto the 2003 director's cut of Daredevil, starring Ben Affleck and Jon Favreau. The director's cut is better, for sure, but it's still not a fantastic movie. Onto a franchise basically everyone likes, Deadpool. I think this was the first 4K Blu-ray I ever purchased, actually. This thing was an amazing achievement considering how low its budget was and the troubling production it had. Onto the slightly less original, but still pretty damn fun and entertaining and hilarious sequel. I love Josh Brolin as Cable, and I enjoyed Domino as well, and I thought that Ryan Reynolds playing Juggernaut was pretty hilarious. And Colossus is my favorite X-Men, so I love seeing him in these films. Onto one of my crown jewels of my collection, the remastered DVD of the unreleased Roger Corman Fantastic Four movie. This movie is entertaining as hell because it's so cheap and fun, and it's still, sadly, the best Fantastic Four movie ever made. There's the Fantastic Four themselves on the back. There's also a great documentary called Doomed about the production of that film. And then the Fox Fantastic Four films, they're not great, but they can be fun if you're in the mood. I actually like Silver Surfer in the sequel, it's just too bad they ruined Galactus. I, like anyone else, can't wait to see if the MCU does these characters justice. Onto the very underappreciated Ang Lee's Hulk. I always say I'm proud to be one of the 7 people who actually likes this movie. It's still the only Hulk adaptation that gets into his troubled past, so I enjoy that. Onto the first superhero movie to be nominated for Best Screenplay at the Oscars, Logan. This movie is awesome, but I thought it got a little long towards the end of it. There's definitely too many scenes of them explaining that he's getting old and sick. Onto a recent Goodwill pickup. I haven't watched this since I saw it on cable when I was probably 5 years old, so I really need to do myself a favor and do that soon. One of my all-time favorites, the Spider-Man Trilogy by Sam Raimi. Part 3 is obviously not as good as the first two, but I still enjoy it more than either of the Amazing Spider-Man films. This was actually the first Blu-ray I ever bought. I even bought it before I had a Blu-ray player. This is a pretty cool one. This is the Best Buy exclusive copy of the Wolverine, where it has 4 discs, I believe, and it's an extended cut and the theatrical cut, and has some extra stuff in there. The movie is nowhere near as good as Logan, but it's definitely better than X-Men Origins. Onto what should have been the last Fox X-Men film, Days of Future Past. This would have been the perfect end cap to the entire series, but then they had to get greedy and ruin it with Apocalypse and the Dark Phoenix movie, which I still haven't even mustered up the courage to watch. Onto a rare reboot that's at least as good or better than its predecessors, X-Men First Class. This is kind of a cool double-sided slipcover here. Now onto some so bad it's fun territory with X-Men Origins Wolverine. The opening credit sequence is amazing, and everything else after that is basically hot garbage. This whole movie was pointless since essentially X-Men 2 was X-Men Origins Wolverine already. Onto the original X-Men trilogy. I can't believe this came out 21 years ago. X-Men was always my favorite throughout the 90s, so I was literally having heart palpitations while seeing this in theaters the first time. This packaging's kind of funny. It has like an inner box to these. X-Men 1, good for its time, not great, still a fun movie. X-Men 2, easily the best X-Men film in the trilogy by far. Between the opening Nightcrawler sequence and Colossus armoring up, I almost blew my load in the theater. And then, of course, X-Men The Last Stand. And that's all there is to it, nothing too spectacular. I did own the Thomas Jane Punisher on Blu-ray. I thought I still had it. I must have sold it at some point and forgot about it. Luckily, I'll probably be getting that awesome Best Buy exclusive 4K Steelbook they're coming out with, because that thing looks ridiculous. And I may or may not eventually get the Ghost Rider films, just for completionist's sake, even though they're pretty terrible. But, you know, it's fun to have them all just for the sake of having them. Maybe I'll grab them at a half-price Books or a Goodwill if I get lucky. And as you can see, I still need to pick up the 4K Howard the Duck Blu-ray, which I would have gotten during Black Friday, but it never really went down to the price I was hoping it would, like most of the other things that were on sale. But thank you for watching. Once again, my name is Derek, the Convicted Cinephile. Please like, share, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at convicted_cinephile. I'll see you next time.